Okay, is this working? Yeah, looks like
Yeah.
it's working. Okay, we're back to 40 minutes. The only thing I'm worried about is that, as soon as I closed the meeting, he said, oh, I got to work on the recording and translate it or whatever. So I hope he's doing that as as we continue our meeting, and then we'll just have two files of the recording, the first 40 minutes and the second 40 minutes. Okay, so I'm going back to share screen, and what do I want to go to here? Okay, so we're sharing it, Ben. We're back in business, right?
Yeah, we're missing Danny and Professor Schiffman, but hopefully they'll figure it out. Well, we had two other people.
Okay. So I'm happy, to wait a minute or so, whatever.
Yeah. I assume they understood what we were saying. I'm not getting any SOSs on my email. I'm just going to email them. Ah, that's Professor Schiffman. Okay.
Okay, so can we continue? Do you want to wait?
Yeah, why don't we continue? Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I've done column row, I've done Mishnah, and now we move on to a different type of search, which here is called word. Word search allows you to search for a particular word which might or might not appear in my database of the Rishonim. Let me give you an example. Supposing, let me give you an example. Supposing you come across the name Erskinus, right? A Roman commander, and he actually appears in the Yerushalmi in 4 or 5, actually 5 or 6 places. And you're wondering, are there any Rishonim who perhaps quote a Yerushalmi, which you're not aware of, and actually quote that name? So what you can do is put that name over here in your word search. I'm not going to put in Erskinus because the answer is no, but I'm going to put in the word Tamish, okay? The word Tamish, which means to dip, right, to dip your challah in the salt, does not appear in the Yerushalmi in front of us. But if you do a search, you'll see that some Rishonim actually quote Yerushalmi where the word Tamish appears. Okay, you see it, it's even marked in yellow. So I've found 7 results with this word Tamish. And at first glance, we're really excited. Maybe we found a new unknown word in the Yerushalmi, Tamish and Tamish. But you'll notice that all of these quotes, invariably, if you go to Ma'agar, of course, they're all in the Rishonim. But when you look up, well, where is this Yerushalmi, you get the disappointing answer, Eino lefanenu. So it's interesting that these 7 Rishonim are quoting Yerushalmi, which doesn't even exist in front of us.
That doesn't mean it's disappointing, the other way around. Even if it's not real, it's not disappointing.
Yeah, okay. The question is what your expectations are. I agree.
That could be a fun paper, actually, which Rishon makes up the most Yerushalmis.
Isn't that a mix? I mean, they
don't make them up. This is connected with the question of whether there was a book called Sefer Yerushalmi in the Middle Ages.
Exactly.
Sure, 100%.
So interesting, right? Over here, in these cases, when you find a word that we don't have, you have an Eino lefanenu, more often than not, yes, we'll be going back to that famous Sefer Yerushalmi. And if you look at all the Rishonim that I found in this particular case, they're all from that German group. The Arzarua, well, the Torah is and the Leket Yoshel and all these guys are much later. The Rokach, these are all, Sefer Yerushalmi Rishonim. And this is where the Ha'ara column becomes important, because here I reference you to various, academic works or comments of different researchers who talk about this. So here you'll have Avtovitzer, you'll have Tal, you'll have Fuchs. Uzi Fuchs, I guess, is the star of the Ha'arot, where he wrote his master's thesis about the Yerushalmi, the Arzarua. So he has a whole list of all the Yerushalmis from the Arzarua, which don't in fact exist in front of you. So I chose the word Tamish because I know that you get this exciting or disappointing results here. But for example, if let's say you're researching a particular Tana or Amora, and you've exhausted all the places that this name appears in the Leiden manuscript, and you're wondering if various Rishonim might have his name appear in others in Sugyot, which in our Yerushalmi appear under a different name. So that, for example, could be a very useful feature or way of using this word expression search. And I mean, you're not going to go searching for Rav Yochanan, but if you have one of the rarer Amoraim, and you're just interested in knowing if there are any other appearances which do not, have that name in our Yerushalmi, this is where you would easily find that. So again, the word expression is limited to the Rishonim database. The word expression is not going to search Achronim. It's not going to search Kitei Gniza. He's only going to search the text that I have put in here of the Rishonim to see if perhaps one of the Rishonim quotes an unknown word in the Yerushalmi, which I don't know from any other place. So that's the value of this word search. And using the word search, I've been able just to demonstrate to you how this Ha'ara column works. So we did column row, we did Mishnah, we did word. And almost finally, you have something called subject. Subject is very subjective. What does this mean? As I was going through, my searches and building this database, I came across things which I found interesting, general comments that Rishonim would make about the Yerushalmi. Even though they're not referring to a particular location in the Yerushalmi. For example, you have these comments of Rishonim, what their attitude is towards the Yerushalmi. How do they treat it when they want to paskin? Is it just like the Bavli? Is it less than the Bavli? This is a well-known discussion. So I just, I had a collection. For example, over here, we go down to Yud. Here, you see this one, Yachas la Yerushalmi. What is their attitude to the Yerushalmi? So if you choose that subject and you search it, so how many do you get here? You get 103 results. And you have different Rishonim commenting about what they think about the Yerushalmi. For example, if I go to the first one, so of course we're in the Rishonim, and the subject is Yachas la Yerushalmi, their attitude towards the Yerushalmi. And here we have a comment by the Rambam's son. And he says as follows, V'gam lu haya b'Yerushalmi davar chutz mima she'iskalti, even if the Yerushalmi says differently than what I'm saying here, einanu somchim alav ela gmara dilan somchinan. I don't depend or give any halachic weight to the Yerushalmi. I go solely according to the Bavli. I don't know what his father would have said about this, but this is the comment that we have here in the name of Rav Avram ben Arambam. And here you go through, and you'll notice that in all these cases, there's no reference to where this is in the Yerushalmi, because these are just general comments about the Yerushalmi. For example, the Arzarua here says something different. He says, wherever I can get the Bavli and the Yerushalmi to agree, I'd rather accept that. And it can be interesting to research and to see the different attitudes, different Rishonim or different groups of Rishonim have towards the halachic weight of the Yerushalmi. So that's one type of subject which I thought was interesting. Then I'm not going to go, of course, through all the different subjects here. For example, here you have Ein la Rishonim Yerushalmi. There are a number of places the Rishon complains, I don't have the Yerushalmi. There's the famous myth, I would say, about Rashi not having the Yerushalmi Avodah Zarah, or even Bavli Avodah Zarah, and things like that. So you just go through these things if there's anything that interests you. And again, as I said before, a lot of this is very, very subjective. These are just things which I thought were of interest. One thing which I guess is important is Eino lefanenu. There are many, many quotes of Yerushalmi which actually don't appear in our Yerushalmi. And just to give you an impression, look, there are 567. Right? If the database has around 32,000 records, 567 of them are not in our Yerushalmi. Right? So you get Eino lefanenu, and you get this whole list. And of course, over here, the Ha'ara column is pretty active, right? To try to explain, where is this coming from? Why don't they have it? Where is it coming from? And so on and so forth. That's Eino lefanenu. Another one is, and I'm hoping, in crowdsourcing for you guys to help me out here, is Terem Nimtza. Terem Nimtza means that I'm not convinced that this Yerushalmi is not in front of us, but I haven't been able to find it. And this happens mostly in cases where the Rishon would say, oh yeah, this is so-and-so, and this is proven in the Yerushalmi, period. And I have no idea what he's talking about. He says, yeah, this is proved in the Yerushalmi, end of story. In those cases, I usually say, I haven't found it. I don't know what you're referring to. So I guess my project is to turn these Terem Nimtzas either into a defined location or to be able to say conclusively, Eino lefanenu. Okay, and anyway, so this is just a whole list of different subjects which I found of interest. I'm not going to go through all of them. There is one final one which I've been working on, Yerushalmi shel Tzarfat. There are 2-3 places where one of the Rishonim talks about the French Yerushalmi. And that's interesting. What in the world does that mean? So there are actually 2 such places. One is in Birkot HaMaharam, and one is in some Piskei Tosfot, which appeared in Moriah. And they just talk about Yerushalmi shel Tzarfatim. All right, so we did column row, we did Mishnah, we did word, we did subject. Comment is, I'm not even sure it should be here. Comment is for you to search the comment column. For example, if you put in the word Fuchs, which is Uzi Fuchs, you'll get back how many, 177 comments where his word appears. The reason I actually asked to have this search in is really personal, because a lot of times I write a comment, and 3 or 4 years later, I say, gee, that comment could be relevant now, and for the life of me, I can't find it. So I asked my computer guy just to enable me to search the comments in order for me to be able to find what I was looking for. And I figured if the search already is here, so might as well let everybody use it. Okay, so as you've seen, the result table is more or less standard, no matter what type of search you do. And from the search page, I'm going to move up to the red column to give you some, I guess, not administrative tools, but tools of importance of second order. So we did the search, and we did Talmud Yerushalmi. I'll show this to you again. By pressing Talmud Yerushalmi, you can access, this Yerushalmi, and actually open up and leaf through this Yerushalmi. I was very surprised and very gratified when they actually allowed me to put this on the internet. And this is where you go. You go to Talmud Yerushalmi, you get these conditions of use, which they insist on, and you have to agree. and then you choose the Masechet you want to, and you know you'll open up the book. Notice that over here you have Mafteach Simanim. If you're curious about various notation, you know, those pointy brackets or square brackets or little letters or big letters. So Mafteach Simanim will just give you that table of the notation used in the academic edition, Academia Lashon. At the end, you get Kuntres Tikunim, which are corrections that have been added to the Yerushalmi over the years. It came out 10 years ago, and now this Kuntres is like 30 pages long already. You know, various typos and mistakes and corrections that have accrued over the years. You know, let's just choose this just for the fun of it. So you click here, I agree to the above conditions. You choose the Masechet that you want to. You press show, and let's hope that it works. Yeah, so here you are. This is the Kuntres Tikunim, and here you just get a list of all the corrections. Okay, I'm not going to go through this and explain this, but this is what you get here. By the way, I've actually indexed this list as well, which means that if there is a correction, then when you search, for example, let's say, you know, column 106, line 24, he will actually give you a reference to here as well, so you'll know that there's been a correction.
Can I ask you a question about their conditions about downloading and copying? Does that apply to your stuff also?
What is my stuff?
What is your stuff? I do a search, and I have the results.
Yeah.
Right? And I want to be able to work on it next week, and I don't want to have to search again. Or I want.
So thank you very much for reminding me that. You're asking one question, but I'll give a different answer. So let me just do a search so I can demonstrate it. So now what did I do? Column 1 from line 12 to column 1, line 22. That's the search that I'm going to do. You know what? Let's do something else. Let's do from column 1, line, let's say 45, which is the very end of the first column. And my sugya continues on to column 2, let's say until line, let's say 5. Okay, so if your sugya crosses over columns, you can actually, you know, do the search over here. The default is once you put a number in the from column, he's automatically going to fill in that number for the to column, because that's going to be the bulk of your searches. But you can easily, you know, just write right over it like I did now. Now I search it. Okay, and I got back whatever I got. You know, I'm doing bracha, so it looks very impressive to you. But, you know, later on, you try to do something in Nida, and, you know, if you get 1 or 2 results, you should count yourself happy or lucky. Anyway, so here are the results. And as you said, I think that was Professor Schiffman.
No.
Who asked the question?
Hey, I asked it. It's okay.
Yeah. So you don't want to, you know, have to do the search over again. Actually, so I forgot all about this. Here on the right side, there's a picture of a printer and a picture of a Word document. Do you see this over here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, good. Okay, so I click that, and now I get the results as follows. I get all the results in this type of a format. I tried to get it as close as possible to the format of the Bar Ilan Shoot Project results. And now you can go through this. You get all the results on one page, and you can click what you want to save and what you don't want. Right? For example, maybe you're not interested in the in Zusman Kitei Gniza, so you just, you know, unclick him. And I don't know, maybe you don't want this Ran Al Arif, so you can unclick him. Once you finish clicking or unclicking, basically choosing which of the results you want to save, you can then choose either to print it, and this will print it out as a hard copy, or you can choose to save it. If you choose to save it, he will save it as a not very elegant, but he will save it as a table in Word format. So now where exactly he will save it, I guess depends, you know, on how your computer is defined and everything. But he'll save it. You see by me, he saves it down here. And then I can open up that page, and this is what I get. So this is not very pleasing to the eye, and I still have to work on this, but you can actually save all the results as a Word document. Okay, so basically I'm telling you, yes, if you,
Yeah, because I'll tell you, because obviously for students to be able to to go out and select a bunch of these citations that you want to work with, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Now, of course, I have no control over this. I mean, I don't think I even can copyright such a thing. It's just a list of Rishonim. So, but anyway, yeah, so I have no problem with you downloading this and doing whatever you want to. Of course, I am afraid of somebody, just plugging in.
Yeah. Somebody, he only lives in Bnei Brak, not.
Okay.
Going to put out the book called Otzar Rishonim al Yerushalmi, a new version of the, Avat Zion Yerushalayim.
Exactly. So, at the end of the day, I can't prevent that. I did insert some protective measures.
You could print that book yourself.
I'm sorry?
You could publish that work.
As a matter of fact, I did, but I published it on the internet.
No, but I'm saying you could publish the book. Same thing.
Nachon. But that's only after you have everything. It's not worth doing it beforehand.
Yeah.
But yes, the protective measures that I put in, which of course aren't foolproof, is, for example, if I do from column 1, line 1, to column 1446, row, I don't know, 33, let's say over there. And, if I press search, I'm just going to basically be downloading all 4 databases.
Yeah.
So instead of that, you get this little red sentence, search larger than 2 columns. Okay, so you can't search more than 2 consecutive columns. So I guess I can do from column 1, row 1 to column 2, row 50. Right, that would give me the first 2 columns, and that's the best I can do. Yeah, so you get back 214 results, and then you can publish this. So you can get some guy in Bnei Brak, as you mentioned, to sit down and do from column 1 to column 2 and from column 2 to column 3. And, after maybe 2 or 3 weeks of the sitting there, he'll have the whole thing. But what can I do?
Well, that's actually not what's actually going to happen is that somebody putting out a Yerushalmi with references to Rishonim in the back is going to go through yours and add what you have that they didn't have, and they may not give you credit.
So that's why I put up over here, right. And I'll show you soon. Some people are actually kind enough to to give credit, and I'll show you that list in a moment. Another preventative that I put in. I mean, you can go to the word search, and if you put in the word Yerushalmi, you'll also get back, most of this stuff. So also over here, I think you have, you have to have it, like if you put in the letter Aleph, it's not going to allow you to search, right? You have to have a long expression, and any variation of Yerushalmi is not acceptable either. So those are the preventatives. You see, cannot search this word. Those are the few preventatives that I've put in, but I'm fully aware of the fact that, nothing is foolproof. Okay, anyway, so thank you for that, because I almost forgot to tell you about the download and, save and print. Okay, report error is something which I found useful. If you find a mistake, something's missing, something is the wrong reference, then you just simply can email me and about the mistake, and then I'm able to correct it. And I'm happy to tell you that every now and then people actually send me various suggestions or mistakes or additions, which which I can choose either to accept or not to accept. But this is the report error. Nihul you won't have. This is my back office, and we come, I guess, to the final part, which is help. Now over here you have these, I guess. Well, look, let's start from down here. Let's start from the bottom. So the bottom, I give thanks to various, I guess, institutions which have given me permission to put their articles online, which I'll soon show you. Here I have my contact information. And over here, you just get some statistics of how many records there currently are. So in the Rishonim, there are 31,000. In the research academic, there's almost 22,000. Geniza fragments, and Achronim. You see that Achronim is much less developed than the other databases. Geniza fragments, unfortunately, is quite static. You know, this is what there is in the book I showed you, Vizel. Let me just tell you that in Professor Zussman's, what should I say, mythical card system, you know, he also did this. He also had a database on cards of this. He for years and years and years claimed that he had 60,000 records. And then at a certain point, he said, well, actually, it's 54,000. Recently, they've actually committed those cards to the computer, and there are 36,000. So I'm very happy that I'm pretty close to his database. So, but this is records, and if you come back here every now and then and check, you'll see that they grow by small increments. You know, 100 or 200 records a month. Okay, how to use this over here? If you click it, you'll get a PDF. Meanwhile, it's in Hebrew, which basically goes through everything I've said up until now. I do promise, I've been promising, I think for a year already, that I'm going to write another PDF in English to make it accessible for English readers. And since I'm reiterating that promise now, hopefully I'll be able to, I'll be forced to keep it in the near future. Browse Yerushalmi just takes you again to the Yerushalmi, which you can open up. Index literature, I'm going to click it. This is a way for you just to see what exactly is in here. So for example, if I click Rishonim and I choose to, let's say, view it by author, then here you get a drop down of the names of all the Rishonim and the Gaonim that are actually in the database. Yes, I mean there are a few like look at this one, Mechaber Lo Yadua, which is a pretty funny name to put in this list. But yes, you know, there's Shita Lo Noda Lami, Shita Lo Noda Lama. We don't know who the author is, and those are also indexed here. And then, you know, for example, if you want to see what works, let's see somebody here, this guy, Shmuel Bar Yaakov Jama. This is the guy that I mentioned a few minutes ago that I did in Motzei Shabbos, and you search for him, and you'll get back. Yes, it appears here as the Agur. I don't remember offhand, but supposing I've gone through one of the Rishonim. Let me think of something. You know, Hilchot Chometz LeRashba. And supposing, you know, I've gone through that work and there's not a single reference to Yerushalmi there. In that case, that name will appear in the database, but there will be a comment next to it saying, you know, no results found. So, you know, it's important for me to put in those names just that you know, I've actually gone through that book and don't bother searching there. So that name would be in here. I know the Ramban. Let me try the Ramban. I think I have an example in the Ramban. Let's go to Moshe Bar Nachman. Here we go, Moshe Bar Nachman. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so here's a list of all the works of the Ramban that I've indexed. But for example, in Igeret HaKodesh, there, surprisingly or not surprisingly, there are no references to Yerushalmi. Or Hilchot Nida, there are no references to Yerushalmi. So you're told that. So like, don't say, oh, you know, I bet you this Yerushalmi appears in the Igeret HaKodesh, I'll go looking through it. So here I'm telling you, I've been there, done that, and I haven't found anything. So that's the Rishonim. Research, again, is, you know, the different names of, let me just renew this. Right, is that working? Okay, so here is a list of, you know, different.
There you see Jeffrey Rubenstein. We just saw him.
Who?
Yeah.
Who did you? Look at that, Jeffrey. You're here. Let's see what we have. The Culture of the Babylonian Talmud, 2003. And the comment is chelki, that I've only done part of it. Jeffrey, you gave me this book actually when I came to visit you. It must have been like at least 8 years ago.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so there you
I'm
are.
glad it made it online.
I'm sorry?
I'm glad it made it online.
Yeah. And yeah, so anyway, so these are the different people that you have here. You know, some are more, more Yerushalmi oriented, some are less. But, again, you can easily see what's here. Let's try Binyamin Elitzul. I don't know if you know who that guy is. He's the one who, yeah, good. So here you go. These are the various articles that or papers that he published, which I've indexed. So if anybody of you, goes through this and say, gee, the guy's missing, such and such work, it really should be on here. So of course, such suggestions are more than welcome. Geniza fragments is really a little bit out of date, because here I have a list of the bits and pieces that have been published throughout the years. But today this is irrelevant, because today what's really indexed is this book. Everything is according to this book, and that list is really irrelevant. And finally, Achronim, you get a list of what I've done. Not too impressive, Rav Yosef Engel, Rassaman, whatever, a few things like I put myself as an Achron here, but okay, hope that's not too arrogant. Okay, going back to the help. So we did how to use, browse Yerushalmi, indexed literature, explanatory video. This is some kind of lecture I gave at Van Leer a few years ago, where I explained at greater depth how exactly I built the database. It's in Hebrew, and it's simply a YouTube. I guess library, I've been telling you that some of the academic works are available as PDFs. So you'll know about this when you go do a search and the cursor turns into a little hand. But people have been telling me that they just come to use the library. They come to this, to here, and they have this library. And here you have a list of all the different PDFs that I have available online. And, you want to see any of them, you just click show and you'll get it. So some people have said that this is what their main use of the database is, just to get to these different PDFs. I claim to have rights to actually put these online. As you saw before, I was thanking Tarbitz, I was thanking Yad Ben Tzvi. But over the years, I've also put in some stuff here where the authors gave me permission, but it turns out that it's not really their paper. Once you publish a paper, it belongs to the publisher, not to them. So, meanwhile, nobody gave me any trouble with them leaving it here. But, some of these might not be completely kosher, if you want to know. There was one case where a guy asked me to take off his paper, which I did. Anyway, but this is as
a result, no one's ever heard of him.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't really too intelligent. You want to be wherever you can be, you don't want to anyway. But that's what he chose. Sorry. Right. Where are we? Help. Yeah. Okay. Article about database. Again, this is a very, very early paper that I published in Hebrew in Alei Sefer, which again explains how I built it. Database in the news. Okay, this is where I like to pat myself on my back. This is a list of people who actually acknowledge using my database. So if you have here Eliashiv Sherlow, this is Rav Yuval Sheller's son. So he actually acknowledges, and of course I put in a nice red box. Nezarti Batam Arechet Meida, so on and so forth. So this is my PR part. That's the database in the news. And institutions member list is also, this is just a list of all the institutions that currently have a subscription. So
So right now, we can get access through NYU because NYU has subscribed, but that's really the only way. It's through one of these libraries, correct?
yeah. Now, if you're at home and you can't access it, or through the proxy, whatever, if you just plug in Talmud YerushalmiDB.com, you actually can use the database in a limited, or I should say very limited fashion.
Uh-huh.
Right? Because if you go in and the computer doesn't recognize your IP, you'll get to this kind of page, and you can register, a name and an email, and then you have access to everything except for the searches. So that sounds very impressive. Everything except for the searches. Without the searches, you don't really
Why
get
would you
to.
want to do that? I just opened it right through the library in 1 second. I just clicked
I'm
on
saying,
it.
yeah, but I'm saying
In front of
if
me,
the
NYU library, online access. Like, why
No,
would I
because
want to do that?
Larry, we've only subscribed for this year. We're not clear we're gonna resubscribe.
Oh, really?
And so maybe we will, maybe we won't, but at some point the library might not give us access. So then that's the question.
Yeah. So so everything except for the searches is accessible free for everybody. And
Except for the search.
Except for the search, right? So it sounds really great, right? Everything is for free except for the search, which Lamaisi, is it doesn't give you a lot.
Well, obviously, we have to convince our library to continue it. It's
Right.
Well, meanwhile, they did. They just renewed their subscription for a second year.
I don't want to ask you an embarrassing question. How much does it cost per year for them?
Meanwhile, it's $1,600 a year.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
I that's what I thought, but everybody likes asking for a discount and what have you. But okay, there is a possibility also of a private subscription, which of course is much cheaper. You get like a kartisiya, and I think in shkolim it's like maybe I think it's 20 shekel for a day of searches. You get you buy a day, and then that day you can perform as many searches as you wish.
You do that with a credit card?
No, I don't have a credit card. You have to actually talk to me and do it.
How's that American going to send you 20 shekalim? You take dollars?
Yeah. You can send it directly to my bank account. But look, you have an NYU subscription meanwhile. And anytime anybody actually says, listen, I want to subscribe, I say, why don't you look at the list and you'll see that you can probably access it from the library. But if that ever happens, that somebody's going to insist on getting a private subscription, it's possible.
Wow.
Okay, I see our time is almost up. Do you want to reconnect?
I don't know. Does anybody have any more questions? This was great. I mean, this is
Wonderful.
really a nice introduction, and I think it'll be very useful for us. So, it's good to have a tutorial on how to use it, but I think this it seems very user friendly. So
yeah, I hope so. And I'm saying again, I'm also pretty friendly. So if you ever have any questions or whatever, you can email me, WhatsApp, whatever, and I'm more than happy to accommodate and whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you so much for that demonstration.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
I'm very happy
Yeah.
this finally worked out.
We'll be in touch if we have more questions.
Good. Okay.
Thank you again. Bye.
And thanks for putting this together. This is a great resource.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Hitraot. Bye-bye.
Well,
All right. Thank you, Moshe. That was great.
Okay. Be in touch, Jeffrey.